So here we are, just testing that all is running fine, friends, and we will be starting this in a couple of minutes. Just making sure that everything is working as expected. Everything seems to run. And I'm just making sure, as I told you, that everyone is up and running. And this is the case I see, so let's start this long awaited event with the asteroid that we actually waited for a while, quickly approaching. I just started a bit later because we had clouds at the observing site, and we are hoping that this will improve. I'm just checking what is happening at the remote observing site, friends. I'm quickly checking the weather. And soon I will open the live feed. And unfortunately I see there are many clouds all around. So I will start this anyway using my my past nights images and video, and of course I will keep an eye on the weather and hoping, of course, that this will improve. So just a couple of minutes and this will be running live, friends. Okay, I think that unfortunately I cannot control the weather, so I will open this live feed now, and hopefully later we will have some better conditions. The sky was just perfect until 1 hour ago, but you know, this is Mother Nature, you know. Anyway, it is time for us to start, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen, no matter where you are on this planet. Gianluca Masi speaking on behalf of the Virtual Telescope Project. It's such a privilege for me to be here and starting this live feed, and we scheduled this live feed to cover the flyby of a potentially hazardous asteroid 1998 HL1, which is an interesting object just approaching our planet in a very safe way, because while it is having a flyby, it is still at 6.2 million kilometers from us, which is a lot of space between the asteroid and our own planet Earth. Despite this is still a very intriguing, very interesting flyby, and because of the size of this object, we will say something about this. This flyby is very interesting because people with the small telescopes can actually try to spot this object personally, visually through her or his own telescope. And the virtual telescope, of course, is here to bring to you images and have some animation of this object, and hopefully live from up there if the clouds will cooperate. And before I start this, I want to remind that the Virtual Telescope project is happy to acknowledge its very precious technological partners. They are Unitron Italia Instruments, Software Bisque and C-Web, and also Santa Barbara Instruments Group, Planewave Instruments, and Bader Planetarium. And I also want to remind that this event is hosted in partnership with the scientific board of the ANSA, the most important press agency in Italy. And of course, I cannot control the weather. I can control the weather and hope that it will improve, but while I'm speaking, the weather is completely bad. It is not raining, but it is overcast. So chances are that it will improve, as it is very crazy in this very moment. So it can happen anytime that the weather will improve. I hope at least this will happen in a reasonable time before we will have to close this live feed. And we are here because an asteroid is here too, and this asteroid is actually a so-called potentially hazardous asteroid. It is good for me to be here and hopefully make clear what this terminology means, because every time I mention to the public that a potentially hazardous asteroid is around, people are worried, but at the same time, I hope that they understand the meaning of those words, potentially hazardous asteroids. First of all, what is an asteroid? You can think an asteroid to be like, a big stone, a big rock out there, even if some asteroids are made by iron. There are not simple stones like the one we have on our beautiful planet. Anyway, it is something like a big stone out there, and you can have a few meters asteroid, a few centimeter asteroids, a few hundred of meters asteroids, and also many kilometers large asteroids. And these objects are moving around the sun, and we know that most of the asteroids are moving in a very special region of the solar system between planet Mars and planet Jupiter, and this is why we call that region the asteroid belt, because it is like a belt of asteroids around the sun placed between Mars and Jupiter, which is far enough to call those asteroids absolutely safe. And we know hundreds of thousands of asteroids living there, moving there, between Mars and Jupiter in the so-called, I repeat, asteroid belt. And the first asteroid was discovered in the 1801 by an Italian astronomer, Giuseppe Piazzi, and from after that, since then, we discovered quite a lot. I told you, many hundreds of thousands of asteroids are at this very moment known, and their orbital details, their orbital elements are stored and at the Minor Planet Center, where all the asteroids are handled, and where astronomers take care of these very nice objects. And we also know why asteroids are out there. You can think of an asteroid like a very old piece of like a brick, and which was used, not the one we see out there, but the brothers of the ones we see out there, to build our planets. In other words, the asteroids we see out there right now were left unused during the formation of our solar system. In other words, when you see an asteroid, you are basically seeing something telling us about the very pristine times of this corner of space where we live, that we call solar system, because we are orbiting with our planet and a handful of more planets around the sun. So when we see an asteroid, we are just facing something very special, very old, and telling us something very precious about the origin of everything around the sun. Because it is something not used, a remnant of the material originally used in the planet formation. And many asteroids are between Mars and Jupiter, and this is a safe place because it is quite far from us. No one is really worried that Mars is going to impact with the Earth. So you can imagine that a typical asteroid is even in a farthest than Mars, so even more safe, I mean. But from time to time, an asteroid is actually crossing the inner solar system and likely crossing the Earth orbit. This is happening for a number of reasons. One of them is that we have a big planet out there that we call Jupiter, and because of its gravitational importance, a gravitational perturbation, it is just pulling away some asteroids from the ordinary region, the asteroid belt, putting those objects possibly in an orbit, bringing them in the inner solar system. And you can easily imagine if an asteroid removed by Jupiter, for example, there are also other dynamical mechanisms making this possible. But think about Jupiter just kicking an asteroid away from the asteroid belt, and if it will move in the inner solar system, this object can even cross the Earth orbit. And this is an asteroid we will call near Earth object, because it is simply moving on an orbit, bringing it close enough to the Earth orbit. And close enough is the Earth of the question. You can have just a gentle approach, nothing serious, but you can also have an asteroid physically crossing the Earth orbit, and of course such an asteroid requires attention. And of course you can consider two parameters, two details when you are considering an asteroid and how dangerous the asteroid can be. One parameter is its size. I don't think you are worried about meteor showers, like about a meteor. Likely you are going out there, and traditions say you can express one wish. And a meteor is just a very small, a grain of interplanetary dust just entering the atmosphere. But it is basically, I would say, an asteroid, just very small. Of course, the size matters when you consider a potential impact between the Earth and an asteroid. And of course, if the size is larger than a given amount, you start to be worried about the asteroid. So we understood that asteroids larger than more or less 100 meters can be able to bring with them, in case of collision, tremendous consequences, even very, very bad consequences. And this is the time for me to introduce a potentially hazardous asteroid. It is very simple. We call an asteroid potentially hazardous if it is basically larger than 100 meters. It is big enough to create problems. And also, it must move on an orbit, bringing it close enough to the Earth, about 7.5 millions of kilometers. So, if you are an asteroid and you are larger than 100 meters and you are coming closer than 7.5 millions of kilometers, you can dress a net saying you are a potentially hazardous asteroid. This is simply, to put this in a simple way, what a potentially hazardous asteroid is. In other words, we have a lot of very small objects coming even much closer than the moon, but they are very small, and we do not call them potentially hazardous asteroids. We call them near-Earth asteroids, which is a more general term. In other words, a potentially hazardous asteroids belong to the larger family of the near-Earth asteroids, but as something more. It is bigger than a given amount, and it is coming closer than a given threshold. This is just to put things in a very simple way. And this asteroid, 1998 HL1, is big enough, and it is coming close enough to be flagged as a potentially hazardous asteroid. And now it is time for me to show you something about it. First of all, just using again the poster of the event, I want just to show you the orbit of this object, of course compared with the orbit of the Earth, and you can see here, for example, how close the orbit of 1989 HL1, which has also, as you can see here a number, 162082. This is the official number of the asteroid, and it is coming close with its orbit to the Earth orbit, close enough, closer than 7.5 millions of kilometers. And in fact, while we are speaking, it is basically very close to the flyby, the minimum distance, which is 6.2 millions of kilometers, friends, just to underline how things are in agreement with the formal definition of potentially hazardous asteroid. So this very simple graphic is giving you an idea of the orbit around the sun of this object, okay, compared with the orbit of our own planet Earth around the same star, around the sun. And as for the size, this object has been estimated to be somewhere in size between 440 and 990 meters. So it is, I mean, big. We have, of course, much more larger asteroid, but this is big enough, I can say. And this data, this reference to the estimated size is coming from the JPL website, where you can find a lot of information about these near-Earth objects. And I suggest to go there and have a look, by the way. Wonderful service. And this is, as I told you, big enough and coming close enough to be visible even with small telescopes. I will mention something about this later on. But while we still have clouds out there, unfortunately, I want to show you one of the first images I was able to take a few nights ago. Here it is with our telescopes. I'm sorry, this is not the object. I will show you another one. This is the object, of course, and now I will recover the exact image. A lot of observations recently, friends. Here it is. So back to the correct image. This is the first image I was able to obtain with our telescopes. There is a typo in the data, of course. It is 19 October 2019, of course, friends. And this object, as I told you, was imaged a few nights ago, and hopefully it will give you an idea of motion, because this object was grabbed with our telescope, of course, and the telescope was asked to surf the sky to track the apparent motion of the object. This is why you can see the asteroid in the center marked with a white arrow, of course, while the stars are apparently leaving long trails all around. This way, I am making sure that you can recognize the object against the stars. Give you some time for this. And now I'm showing you a more recent image. This one. I collected this one more recently, as you can easily see. And again, the object is truly spectacular. I hope that you can grab the point here. The asteroid is moving around the sun, okay, along its orbit. And when we see it in the sky, of course, we see it moving across the stars. And the closer the object, the faster the motion in general. And you can see here how the asteroid moved in 5 minutes, because these images were grabbed with 5 minutes exposure, 300 seconds, as you can see. And while it is close, it is not very close. We had much apparently faster asteroid actually up there and observed with our telescopes, friends. But I think that this can bring you the idea of motion, friends. And I also want to show you, if you like, a quick movie. Look here. And I think this is a very nice video to see. which I made using images from the October 19 images, more than 200 images. And I hope that this way you could enjoy this beautiful motion. Let me see if I can run it again. Here we are, friends. And of course the asteroid is apparently in the center, and as the telescope tracked it across the sky, it seems that the stars are moving in the background. But this is because our telescope is really able to track basically every moving object up there, which is honestly something very, very special. Not easy to find. Not all the telescopes, not all the instruments are honestly able to do this, friends. And we are proud that our telescope at least is able to do this. And in principle, you should have now recognized the asteroid via its motion, friends. I'm just trying to prepare right away new images for you. Okay, let me check while this is still showing. But I have another video to share with you. The one we are seeing now comes from October 19, and now here it is, the same asteroid tracked for a while, 2 nights later, friends. Here it is, and I find this again very beautiful. We use more than 300 images here, so very likely this is even more spectacular, I think. I'm really hoping that you are appreciating this video. Just making possible for us to guess how fast this object was moving. And I want to tell you that the motion you are seeing in this video is not the true motion, because I just made the motion faster than in nature. And if you are interested, I can tell you that the real motion was significantly slower, about 250 times slower, just to give you an idea of the speed you see, the apparent speed you see in the video, against the velocity, the speed you can see in the sky through the telescope, of course. I'm trying to prepare a new image for you. Just 1 second, friends. Let me try to save the new image while we are seeing this nice video. Because this video is just made putting together hundreds of images taken back to back, like a time lapse basically, okay? While if you track, and every image is very quick, and in fact you don't see the stars leaving a trail, just a handful of seconds. While if you just take, as I told you, a single image with a long exposure time, this is the resulting effect, my friends, which is completely different, as you can very easily see. Now let me check if I have another image to share with you. I'm just trying to make this right on the fly, because unfortunately the weather has not been so far good to see it live. We have plenty of clouds over the observatory. But of course, I'm keeping an eye to see if this will improve at some point. Not sure about this, but we can just hope, friends. Let me try to show you another image. Here it is, 2 nights ago. Still a long exposure, just making very clear the apparent motion of the asteroid across the stars. I really love, I must say, these images, where of course the very special capabilities of our telescopes is made very clear. As I told you, not all the telescopes are able to track this way. And okay, just adding another image where I managed to get to correct the data. Sometimes when you are working in the night, okay, you can do some mistakes. Okay, this should work, and let me check if this is correct or not. Otherwise I will take care. Here it is. This is the first image we captured of this asteroid several nights ago, when we were preparing to the live feed, and luckily I did so. Otherwise, we really didn't have something to share, no matter the weather. And unfortunately, we, the astronomers, must be prepared to face bad weather, and of course, hopefully in the case of these live feeds, to have hopefully some real data to grab the night before, a few nights before, to be sure to share with you something about the asteroid, just in case the clouds decide to jump up there as they did this time. But here it is, the best video we did 2 nights ago, with really a lot of images, friends. And I honestly hope that this will bring to you the beauty, the wonder of the show. Something that never failed to amaze me. I always love to see an asteroid this way. So friends, Gianluca Masi speaking from the Virtual Telescope Project, and we are here sharing images and video, real images and real videos of the potentially hazardous asteroid 1998 HL1. We are ready with our telescope to grab it in real time, but at the time I'm speaking, we have clouds above the observatory, so unfortunately I cannot take images to share the images with you. And luckily enough, I managed to observe this asteroid several nights before, and at least I can show you our original data for this asteroid coming from the past nights. As I told you, we cannot do anything when the weather is bad, of course. We can just sit and wait. And I hope that at least these very special videos can bring to you the beauty of this asteroid, which is just right now made its flyby at 6.2 million kilometers from us, which is a bit more than 16 times the average lunar distance. So it is a lot of space, really no danger, really nothing serious was going to happen. We knew this very well in advance, of course, but it is always nice for me to remind you about all these friends. How beautiful. I'm never tired to look at these images. I must say that having an asteroid of this size, the diameter of this rock is somewhere between 440 meters and 990 meters. Having an asteroid of this size just around our planet, even if at a very safe distance, 6.2 millions of kilometers, is not very frequent. I did a quick check and I have found that the last year, if you consider the last year so far, we had just 2 other asteroids coming at a similar distance or closer and being actually bigger than this one. So we have just 3 objects of remarkable size coming that close, and this one is also visible through small telescopes. And I will try now to show you a star map showing where the asteroid will be in the very next nights. Just let me put these images on my streaming queue, and I will show you it right away. The map. Okay, the map should be here. Here it is. And here it is, the map, friends. Just showing where up there in the sky this asteroid is moving. You can see this map covers a few nights by tonight, when the asteroid will be at its brightest, and that is when the object will be visible at its best with small telescope. If you want to try, you can, and you will need a telescope with a diameter of 15 centimeters, more or less 6 inches or larger, and of course a dark sky. Otherwise, if you are under less than ideal skies, it is much better to have a larger telescope. But if you have a digital imaging device, you can use a significantly smaller telescope, because our digital imaging devices have a much higher efficiency than our own eyes. So if you have a little telescope, you can use such a camera to capture at your best the light, and even a smaller telescope is able to capture these amazing asteroid friends. And as you can see, it is moving in a very special region in the sky, where you have the Triangulum, the triangle constellation, and also Aries constellation. And in this map you see the data with the time. It is universal time, and you also another number, 13 something, 12 something, that is the so-called magnitude, the brightness. The smaller the number, the brightest the object. So you can see that this asteroid will peak in brightness in about 36 hours by now, and it is when you can try to observe if it is night at the time at your place. But really, This is I think a useful map, and I suggest you to try by yourself and hopefully succeed finding this amazing object, friends. Why not? The weather is still far from being ideal, unfortunately, but here we are, just hoping. Just trying again, and with some luck, you know, you never know. We will run this for about 15 minutes more, and again I want to put again our video, one of our video from October 21, showing you this nice object about in the very center of the field of view, gently surfing the sky, gently moving up there, and hopefully you will be able to see this quite easily. Unfortunately, the sky is cloudy right now, and I'm sorry that a lot of people is connected to the live feed right now, and this is why I'm trying to keep an eye on the weather, but as of now, the weather is not good at all. Let me check also the satellite to see if we have hopes or not. Unfortunately, I don't see any realistic chance in the next 15 minutes, but it happened, so let's stay here for a while we are still looking at this amazing video grabbed a couple of nights ago, 4 nights ago, through the same telescopes I use for the live feed. So this is truly realistic, with unfortunately the only difference that they are not grabbed now, which is something we were ready to do, but of course clouds decided to jump into up there to enter the sky when we really didn't want them. And I hope that no matter this, you will have the best experience possible. Too bad that really we cannot control. At least in this case, it is good that we cannot control the weather for me, but sometimes I would like to, especially when I have people from all over the planet waiting for something special to be spied, to join through the virtual telescope. Let's hope, let's wait for a while. I don't know. I can only hope, friends. This is the only thing that it is left. As for the weather, to ask the astronomers. And meantime, I'm trying at least to share with you what we had these last nights, hoping that at least this will bring to you the feeling. I will be extremely happy if at least for a few minutes we could grab live images. This could happen if only the sky will open a bit. Let's wait for a while, friends. Again, continually checking. I plan to check again in a few minutes. Well, I'm continuously doing this, but every few minutes I just look through the all-sky camera we have at the observatory just to be sure if we have also some good conditions, but so far no luck. Again, I'm just cycling some images I have from those previous nights. And I would like to try to open again and see, but I'm not sure I will find something good. So friends, not sure, but I would like to try anyway. Let me see if I can try. Just wait for a while, please. I'm trying to open the observatory now. Apparently the weather has improved, but not sure if it improved enough, friends. But let me try. And at this point, I want to share with you the telescope console so that at least you can also have an impression of what is happening. Here it is. This is the weather right now. As you can see, there are many clouds, but even you have some clear sky. And what I hope there, friends, is that it is clear enough for us to see the asteroid for a while. Now switch to the telescope console. Here it is. And with some luck now, you never know. Okay, we are hopefully ready. The asteroid is in this part of the sky. Let me try to point the telescope there and see if the asteroid is there. This is a star map, as you can see, just telling us what is up in the sky above the observatory. And the yellow circle is where the telescope is right now, while the red circle here is where the asteroid is right now. And now I asked our telescope to move and point where the asteroid is, and if clear, we should see the asteroid. At least we are trying, friends. I really want to try this for you. I'm just preparing. All the image parameters. And at some point, the telescope will give us an image, and if we will see the stars, it will be good news for us. And I see we have stars here, friends, finally. So now let's try to track this object for a while, friends. Let me try. I'm doing this right now. I mean, I could not prepare anything because the weather was bad. So let's see what will happen now. If we will see something moving or not. This is in real time now, friends. In real time happening thanks to the Virtual Telescope project. Let's see if image after image something will stay fixed while all the other things are moving or not. I can also. Okay, I think that we have the asteroid. The asteroid is this very bright object here. I can do this. Let's use a longer exposure so that we will have more time for the asteroid to move, and while the telescope is tracking the asteroid, the stars on the background should show their trail, and this will be a proof that, of course, we are doing correctly. So, friends, here it is, perfectly. Okay, so the asteroid is right here. We also have a galaxy here, by the way, so we had to wait for a lot of time, but we are ending in a very good way. So this is the asteroid 1998 HL1, the potentially hazardous asteroid we wanted to observe live. And now we have a clear spell up there in the sky, and we are tracking it. This is the asteroid, and look at the star, how the star is apparently moving, because actually it is the asteroid moving, but the telescope is tracking it. So it is in the same place, every image, every new image, and you can look on the upper left, the countdown. We are taking the third image after we started the sequence, and every new image is giving the asteroid in the same place because we are tracking it, while the stars are slowly moving in the upper left. And the asteroid is apparently moving to this galaxy. This is just a perspective because the asteroid is about 6.5 millions of kilometers far, while this galaxy is at least many tens of millions of light years far from us. And this is a funny, joke. Every time you look up, this is something happening. Here it is. And now let me try a long exposure, if you don't mind. Just to close in a very spectacular way, we are taking a 3-minute long exposure now. And this is quite a lot of time. In other words, friends, we are giving to the asteroid a lot of time, okay? And this will make possible for the star to show a very long trail. So at the very end, we were lucky enough to see the asteroid in a very nice star field, friends. Here it is, the asteroid with a galaxy here. Let me see if I can ask the software also to identify where we are here. Here we are. I'm just trying to put this. Okay. Here it is, the galaxy, okay? It is NGC 684. Very nice that we could see this. Despite the weather, we had to wait. And now we are having a good opportunity. Of course, in the next image, I will have the asteroid living like a dot, while the stars and the galaxy as well will look like a trail. But then I will try to take another image with the asteroid tracking the stars, that is just tracking at the speed of the Earth, because it is the Earth, of course, generating the apparent motion in the sky, with a sharp galaxy, of course. Very nice. I was happy that after all we could at least have some clear sky in a very special moment. So the value of this clear sky is really huge, I think. Waiting for the image. Here it is, and in fact it is very nice. Some clouds are there because the image is far from being perfect, but no matter this, sorry, let me stop this, okay. And now I will do something completely different. I will take a 5 minutes long image, and this time the asteroid should look like a trail. Look here, not bad at all. This is the Potentially Hazardous Asteroid 1998 HL1, and it is moving across the stars. We tracked the asteroid, so the stars are leaving trails, and also the galaxy here we identified earlier to be. Here it is, the galaxy NGC 684 is leaving a trail as well, but it is clear to recognize the different trail. The stars are a dot of light, while a galaxy is like a fuzzy object. Now, to conclude, I'm taking a 5 minutes long image to see what will happen. If the sky will stay clear, I don't know. But at least we can hope to get very nice memory from this, with some lucky. "200 seconds basically are left before we reach the end of the live feed. Okay, waiting. And of course we are waiting to see all these. Very nice object here. Very bright, by the way, as I told you. Right now this object will be visible if you have 6 inches, 15 centimeter large telescope. You can just look with your own eyes through this telescope and see this asteroid, just to give you an idea how bright this object is. And the Virtual Telescope Project website has a star map, making possible for you to find this right away. And we are now left with a couple minutes more, and I really hope that the sky is still clear there. These numbers say it should be reasonably clear, but unfortunately even a very little cloud just in the place where we are observing could be a problem. So these numbers are saying that the weather has improved, of course, and we are still waiting for 100 seconds. And let's hope that the final image we are going to get will be enough for us to say we spied this object in a very great way. Let's hope just 1 minute, and then we will know if we will have the prize back after waiting so long and hoping so much in clear sky, in clear weather. "30 seconds to go." And if we will have a good image, it will be a very nice one, friends, by the way. And you will understand what changes I did in the image we are just waiting for. Now, here it is. The image is now downloading from the camera to the computer. In a few seconds, we should see it. Wow! Look at this image, friends. How beautiful it is. How beautiful it is, friends. It just crossed the galaxy. So I believe that after all, there was some wind making the track, the trail not very straight, but we succeeded doing this. And with this image, friends, it is a pleasure after all to say that we succeeded observing the potentially hazardous asteroid 1998 HL1 through the Virtual Telescope project. We had clouds for most of this hour, but at the very end we could observe in this beautiful way, with this gift from the galaxy, from the sky, this object. And I hope you had a nice time with us, and I hope that the Virtual Telescope offered you a nice opportunity to enjoy the beauty of the cosmos. And I hope you will consider supporting the Virtual Telescope project by donation, because it is the only way we have to survive, to just keep our system running year after year, month after month, night after night. That's all from Gianluca Masi, Virtual Telescope project, and I hope to see you around next time. For now, the next scheduled event is the Mercury transit in front of the solar disk next November 11. Something very special, and you can learn more on the Virtual Telescope website. That's all, friends. Bye bye from the Virtual Telescope project from Gianluca Masi.